dengue fever in Thailand are up 500%.
Is medical tourism safe?
A 65-year-old retiring this year can expect to spend an average of $157,500 throughout retirement. Stronger than ever.
Just over 1 year ago, my wife and I retired here to Thailand from Tokyo, Japan. In that time, we have both had 2 cases of the flu each. Just recently, I had a bout with a virus that lasted 6 weeks and ended in me going to a hospital for treatment and a full checkup, the kind you might have if you come here as a medical tourist. Let me tell you all about it.
Started off innocently enough. Just some intermittent sneezing fits, coupled with a terrible clear and watery runny nose. No big deal. It would hit me at various points throughout the day, each fit lasting about 10 or 20 minutes. I thought maybe I'm getting my first Thailand allergy or something. Boy, was I wrong. After about 2 weeks, the symptoms shifted to those something more indicative of a summer cold. Coughing, runny nose, sneezing, sluggishness. Those symptoms also lingered for about 2 weeks. To summarize, it sucked. And in all totaled, it was 6 weeks of illness. Well, I really like this location, but the construction noise is not helping us out at all. So I think I have to go back home. Yeah. Okay, boys, I'm home. I'm home. Hello, hello. Okay, where were we? Back around week 2, I went to a local pharmacy and was given a few things with the thinking that what I was fighting off was a mild case of the flu. At week 4, I went to a local clinic for a proper examination. I was told that my lungs were clear and that I likely had an upper respiratory infection. I was prescribed azithromycin and a few other things and was told to take the antibiotic for 5 days. The antibiotic helped, but didn't quite cure the cough. And about 2 days later, the cough was back stronger than ever. It was around this time that I really started to worry. The very next day, I went to the hospital. I'm on the mend now, or frankly, I wouldn't be making this video. So don't worry about me. My goal today is to provide you with as much useful information regarding Thailand hospitals as I can, and expat health insurance in general, especially if you're thinking of moving to Southeast Asia. Or maybe you're fresh off the boat and still riding that wave of elation and have not yet been properly introduced to the local viruses. And speaking of viruses, never say never.
Johnny!
Which makes having a good insurance policy and a cash nest egg all that much more important for when the unexpected does arrive. Speaking of insurance, today I want to share with you the recent challenges I had with my insurance company and the back and forth between a local big name hospital in trying to get the hospital to accept what's called a GOP, or guarantee of payment, so that I wouldn't have to pay out of pocket for my yearly checkup, which is covered under the insurance policy. I'll also share with you the results and review of that comprehensive checkup, the quality of service I received at the hospital, and I'll share just what the good doctor prescribed me to get me back on the road to recovery from my 6-week virus. Bonus track. I'll also share with you my thoughts on expat insurance and the contact information for the insurance broker that we used to help us find our insurance policies. So sit back and take some mental notes on how to navigate your health plan when retired in Southeast Asia. Oh, and if you're not a subscriber, we'd love to have you with us. We appreciate the support, and please hit that like button. Moving to Southeast Asia from Tokyo And more precisely, a tropical island was much more of a shock to our bodies than we had expected. And it's one of the most important things I'd like you to take away from this video. Koh Samui, Thailand is a very humid climate and pretty much has 2 seasons. There's no cold winter to kill off some of those germs. It's like this beautiful petri dish for all those eager germs to grow and thrive in. And believe me, we tried. Months in advance, we searched Google for what vaccines and boosters were recommended for people moving to Thailand. And that's not counting the 3 COVID shots we got. Hepatitis A, typhoid, rubella, mumps, measles, Japanese encephalitis, and rabies. If we needed a booster, we got it. If we needed a fresh shot, we got it. But it obviously didn't cover everything, because in our first 90 days here, both Tomo and I had 2 separate bouts with a high fever. And she was sick 1 additional time in the first 3 months. And then I got slammed as recently described. Now, I would consider us decently healthy people. We don't socialize all that much. We go to yoga 2 or 3 times a week. We try to eat pretty healthy. We don't drink too much. And we get a good night's rest every night. What we have experienced here in our first 12 months in Thailand is nothing like that which we experienced in the 18 months we were together in Tokyo, Japan. And I have a bit of advice on how best to approach that I'll share with you in just a moment. Okay, so the last time I had a full physical examination was about a year and a half ago. I used to have pretty good coverage with my former employer. And as mentioned, with my current insurance policy, I get 1 free checkup each year at no cost, which I'd been meaning to schedule for a couple of months, but you know how it is. Well, now I had all the more reason to do it. The insurance company that I use is called Geo Blue. Back in June, I reached out to them to see if Bangkok Hospital was covered under their plan. I was told, yes, they are. Just call the hospital, make your appointment for your checkup, give us a call back, let us know the date of your appointment, and we will happily email them over a guarantee of payment, or GOP, so that you won't have any out-of-pocket expenses. Side note on a GOP, if you're ever going to a hospital overseas, it's always best to have one sent in advance if possible. Now, in the case of an emergency, if you can, call the insurer while you're still at the hospital and before you check out. And that way, maybe you won't have to pay for everything. Of course, most insurance companies have a deductible, but often insurance policies will cover prescriptions. So, assuming the hospital has a prescription pharmacy, hopefully you won't at least have to cover those costs. And if the emergency you're experiencing is serious and likely to be expensive, calling the insurer ahead of time at least will give you some idea of what they will and won't cover. Now, I have to give credit where credit is due. Each and every time I've needed to speak to someone from Geo Blue, I've been able to get a live voice within 2 minutes, day or night, 24 hours a day. Every person that I've spoken to has been polite and done their best to help me with whatever needs I might be having. The cost isn't cheap, and I'll share that number with you in just a bit. But when it comes to service from Geo Blue, I have no complaints thus far. And no, they're not sponsoring this video. But hey, Geo Blue, if you're watching. I mentioned we used a broker for our insurance, and I'm glad we did, because the process took over 3 weeks. Both Tomo and I have a few pre-existing conditions, and nationalities are different. Where we wanted coverage was a bit different, so you really should get on that as soon as you can if you're thinking of moving overseas. I'll give you our broker's contact information in a second. Okay, so where things got incredibly frustrating was with Bangkok Hospital. Bangkok Hospital is one of the largest healthcare providers within the Kingdom of Thailand. And they have a signed agreement with Geo Blue. But for some reason, their branch on the island of Koh Samui does not honor Geo Blue. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But If one takes a quick look at their website, they list GeoBlue as one of the insurance companies that they accept. What's with that? I mean, I don't want to be the one to throw you under the bus here, Bangkok Hospital, but there it is. You accept GeoBlue. I went back and forth with the hospital via numerous emails and was told no, no, and no again. You can imagine how that made my blood boil. Now, I have no proof of this, but I do have a theory as to why GeoBlue is not accepted on the island of Koh Samui at Bangkok Hospital. Although they are not the only game in town, it's fair to say that Bangkok Hospital does capture the lion's share of the business on the island. And getting to other big name hospitals requires either a ferry or a plane ride. The decision may also be influenced by the high percentage of foreigners that live on the island or tourists that flock here. Side note, a good number of that latter group end up coming here, renting scooters, and finding themselves in minor or not so minor traffic accidents and make up a good percentage of the population at the hospital. But that's a story from another video. Alas, in the end, I gave up my role as David v. Goliath and paid cash for the services that I received. I have already submitted the receipt to GeoBlue for review and reimbursement. With that sad chapter of the story out of the way, let's talk hospital review so that you all might have some idea of the service you could experience if you visit a big name hospital in Thailand for one of their marketed checkups, or just if you happen to drop in for some random illness or primary care. My appointment is for what they term the Male Ultimate Health Checkup. Here's a screen grab of the tests that I received as part of that checkup. The ones that are lined out are tests that I did not receive. As you can see, it was pretty extensive. The price for the package was 22,900 Thai baht. There were a few additional surprises on the bill, and I'll show you that in a second. Now, I had the first appointment of the day, scheduled at 8 a.m. So I walked in early at 7:25. And here, I'm pleased to report, is where my experience with Bangkok Hospital took a complete turnaround. Show up to the hospital 30 minutes early for an appointment in the United States, and you are almost guaranteed to be told, please have a seat, right? Well, that's exactly what I was told. But within 3 or 4 minutes, one of the staff came over and began my testing. First things first, weight and blood pressure in one room, escorted across the hall for a quick EKG, and to have a large vial of blood drawn, enough to fill 5 glass tubes. All of this happened in less than 10 minutes. Back to the waiting area, and about 3 minutes later, I was given a pretty quick eye chart reading. No electronics here, just stand at about 7 meters and read with one eye closed. No machine check on the eyes, and that was a bit surprising, but I'm already well aware of what eye challenges I'm having at the moment, so I didn't let that bother me. A few minutes later, I was escorted off to an examination room with a private bathroom. There, I was asked to provide a urine and small stool sample. I obliged. The dude abides.
I don't know about you, but I take comfort in that.
The attending technician then proceeded to take a quick x-ray and asked me to lie on the table and wait for the doctor, who she said would be in just a few moments. After about 5 minutes, a doctor came in to do a full abdominal ultrasound exam. He was extremely experienced with the machine and skilled at its operation. He was focused and thorough. I was impressed with the service that he provided. He stated that he'd already looked at my chest x-ray and that it appeared clear, but he told me to bring it up to the next doctor that I would be seeing. In total, the ultrasound exam took about 10 minutes. After that exam was complete, I changed into the running gear that I brought with me and was escorted upstairs for the stress test. If you've never had one, a stress test is where they attach a lot of electrodes to your body. I think the exact number for me was 12. Then, assuming the patient can handle it, they get you on a treadmill to walk, or in my case, run, so as to place your heart under stress. All the while, that EKG machine is collecting those 12 inputs. From there, they look for any abnormalities. Once I got comfortable walking, the doctor increased both the speed and the degree of angle on the machine. My max heart rate of 163 beats per minute was 118% of the target they had set, which for me was 138 beats per minute. Basically, that means I passed the test's expectation based on my age, health, height, and weight. During the test, I experienced no chest pain and 0 negative indications. The doctor, as one would hope, was a cardiologist. I coughed a few times during the test, but no terrible fits. I told him how I'd been fighting something off for the past 6 weeks, the medicines I'd taken, and my symptoms. He took another look at the chest ray on his computer and confirmed it appeared clear. After asking a few questions, it was his opinion that I had been fighting a flu or possibly even COVID. I told him that I'd taken 2 COVID tests over the past 6 weeks at home and both had turned up negative. But he said it is possible that those tests could have been false negatives. In the end, the doctor prescribed for me 2 medicines that he felt confident would knock it out. The first was prednisolone, which, come to find out, is a steroid that mimics the effects of the hormones produced by the adrenal gland. The other medicine he prescribed was Ropect, which is a generic form of codeine and used to relieve cough symptoms. He seemed very confident that these 2 medicines would quickly relieve me and cure me of what had been making my life a living hell for about the last 6 weeks. He then went on to review all the tests from that morning. Now, keep in mind, I arrived at the hospital at 7:25. It was now about 9:45, and the doctor already had in hand or on his computer all the test results. That means that Bangkok Hospital has on hand all the equipment necessary to deliver extremely fast results for patients coming in to do checkup packages. And that, my friends, is one of the most impressive takeaways and something I want you to consider when you're thinking of making your checkup. Be sure to ask the hospital, when will I be able to get my test results? Never have I ever gotten that many test results the same day that I've had the tests taken anywhere in the United States or in Japan. It was quite impressive. And for me, earns Bangkok Hospital a gold star. Leaving the conversation with the cardiologist, I felt uplifted, but somewhat skeptical. I mean, I'd already seen another doctor and been to a pharmacist in trying to win the battle over this virus. Following his recommendations, after paying the bill, I got my first meal of the day, as I was required to skip breakfast for the test. And once I had food in my belly, and with the doctor's okay, I front-loaded on the prednisolone and took 6 tablets. Cup of coffee in hand, it was time to head for home. Okay, let's talk about the bill. Here's a copy for you to see. The total bill included charges for nursing services and what was titled Other Medical Services. Other than those 2 surprises on the bill, nothing was shocking. And as I mentioned, I've already submitted the bill to Geo Blue for reimbursement. My final thoughts on Bangkok Hospital are this. Guys, you really should honor your commitment with Geo Blue and accept their policy at the Koh Samui branch. And you really should make it right. Simple as that. The services I received from all the staff and the doctors at the hospital itself were excellent. The fact that the staff, seeing me arrive 30 minutes early from my appointment, still got up and took advantage of that time so as to start me early was nothing short of outstanding. All the people at the hospital that I dealt with seemed well-trained and diligent in the execution of their duties. They treated me with respect and care. Now, the hospital does get some mixed reviews online. I understand that, but I can only share with you what my experience was. And I've tried to do that here. In hindsight, I'd wished I'd gone to the hospital 2 or 3 weeks early, and maybe I would have been able to get healthier sooner. As of this recording, I'm about 95% back to full health. I no longer suffer from prolonged coughing fits and don't have any issues lying flat or sleeping at night. I finished the medications I was prescribed about 2 days ago and thus far have not experienced any reoccurrence. So, what does all this mean for you? Well, obviously I'm no doctor, but here's my thoughts for you to ponder. 1. If you're planning a move to Southeast Asia, get your immunizations up to where they should be. It's been in the press lately, but the instances of dengue fever in Thailand are up 500% this year. And over 20 people have lost their lives to the disease. I would not want to mess around with that. 2. Make sure you get a good health insurance policy. 3. Yes, it's possible to get excellent health care in Thailand. 4. Don't wait to the last minute to get your health insurance figured out. Even using a broker, it took us over 4 weeks to get it all figured out and find the policy that we were comfortable with. 5. When booking an appointment at a hospital, try to get the first appointment in the morning. 6. If you're going to move to a new environment, you should expect that your body is going to go through a period of climatization. If you have your favorite go-to allergy or cough and cold medicines, stock up on them before you depart. Just make sure they're not on any list of banned substances. And finally, 7. A good buddy of mine in the States is an experienced doctor. And a number of years ago, over a few beers one night, he gave me some advice that I'll never forget. He said, "Doctors are people too. We have good days and bad days, same as everybody else. When you go to a hospital, dress neatly, make a good appearance, be polite, be the kind of person that makes me want to do my best and be your best health advocate. Don't expect me to know everything. Engage with me in conversation and make sure you ask all the questions needed regarding your condition. Make me think carefully about the advice that I'm giving." Doctors want it to be a team effort. So the insurance broker that we used is Pacific Prime. You can find them easily enough online. As mentioned, they did a lot of the legwork for us and saved us a lot of time. I chose to go with a larger deductible of $10,000 US so that my monthly payment would be smaller, albeit only slightly. My monthly payment is $502 per month. With that plan, I have prescriptions covered, no deductible applied. I know there are cheaper plans out there, but I have a history of cancer, and some of the plans I was warned will potentially kick you off the plan after you reach a certain age, 65, 70, and I did not want to have to find myself at age 70 looking for a new insurance policy. So I went with GeoBlue. Tomo has her insurance through a company called Now Health. Additional props to the folks at Pacific Prime for sending me all the reminders that my 1-year renewal was due. It helped, and I appreciate their service. Now it's your turn. Let us know what you thought of the video in the comments section. Hit the like button, and again, hey, if you're not a subscriber yet, please join us. Until the next one, take care of yourself and stay healthy.